Alright, so officially welcoming you to this month's community call. I will be doing the presentation. We have a couple of folks that will introduce some of the topics on the different slides. So please be patient for your questions if you can until we finish each slide presentation. Of course, ask any questions. It's completely open. If you have any other topics I want to discuss at the end of the call, there will be a moment for discussion, open discussion about anything. So go ahead and shoot. Okay. Let's start important things first. So please, if you haven't subscribed to the Inside Bakery, we are putting a lot of effort to get this newsletter out. Ben is doing a great job as always. Get the latest updates in a good shape with links to useful documentation and frequently asked questions and that kind of stuff, all wrapped up in short sentences. So if you want, if you haven't already, please do. If you know anyone interested in what we do, please direct them to insidebakery.substack.com for subscription. Same if you have any feedback about the newsletter, please shout. So the agenda is quite extensive. I'll just move forward. First, there will be a proof of attendance after this call. It will be distributed manually, so please do be patient about it. It's not an automated process. The image is the one you see on the screen. Gap will DM you directly, so you can redeem your POP later. So it will happen. As you may know if you attended on another meeting before. So the first good thing is that we reach 12 million DAO staked, which is a great thing. The number was moving quickly the first days, and then we made it to 12 million, which is actually great. For those who own KPI options, we have 3 million to go, so let's keep pushing this forward and getting more people engaged, or increment your positions if you have the capacity to do so, if you like to. But this is a good thing to mention. It was hit today, so good stuff, everyone. Thank you for everyone that has made some Twitter publicity and word of mouth work to keep getting chefs into the kitchen. Any comments before we move forward from anyone? Cool. So slice distribution. Sorry, there's a typo on the title. It's slice, not first. Slice distribution. So the distribution has been done on the 6th of December. 400k slices were distributed, around 229 holders. 82% of the amount of holders actually were eligible and participating in governance last month, which is very good. And through community vote, play has been distributed inside slice. So both both slice pies at the moment have only play inside. Some stats as mentioned: 12 million DAO holders. The time lock, it's around 34.9 months, which is very good. And there are 297 addresses on unique addresses staking, which is also very good. There's not much more to add on top of it. I think the process is running smoothly for claiming, redeeming. A good thing to say, just a color fact. Everyone from the first distribution actually claimed their rewards. So just color note, nothing major, but worth mentioning. Okay, yes, I'm opening for any comments or question anyone may have. No? Cool. Next one. Couple of development updates that happened during November. So there are 3 implementations that passed the voting for the veDough bridge. Is the first one. So the bridge has been created. There's a second part about this proposal, which is the reward staking. So that's something we currently have for analysis under the current sprint. So it's been developed. I mean, it's been investigated how to do it. we'll share more as soon as we know, but the first part about creating the bridge is already there.
Sorry, Jen, if I can add something about that.
Sure.
I just wanted to highlight that there is a bounty today open about making significant research on how to improve the liquidity mining program and potentially explore new way of incentivizing liquidity, which might not be related to AMM necessarily, or even using solution like Olympus Pro to create a bond program, or even on veDough to do single-side liquidity. So if someone is interested in that, it would be really great to have that kind of information before, I think, moving forward with this implementation, as that might change things up. So I know some of you has been hiring a little bit on that specific bounties. Like if you need clarification of any sort, please reach out.
Thank you, Alex. I didn't notice you were already on the goal, so if you like to go with the next 2 points, otherwise I can move it myself.
No, sure. As for PIP 66, the compromised asset, which was the cream wrapped version of Keeper, has been removed from YPI. That was extremely important, as they basically blocked transfer, which would have made redeemability basically impossible. So YPI has also received a refund in cream, which has been directly injected within YPI itself. So it's all good now. Also, PIP 59 has been completed with the following up rebalancing of cutting out the long tail, aka the micro allocation. And so that's been going smoothly. And then I think one of the last development update which should be done is there is within the sprint a first PR, basically developing the code for the veDough bridge from Slice, so that the manual compounding wouldn't be necessary. We registered a participation of around 7.33% as for now. Which we thought was quite interesting, and it might take a little bit more, but it's in progress, and you can find it on GitHub, on the DAO staking repo. I think that's it.
Thanks, Alex. Anyone? Any comments? Any questions? All right. Moving forward, I'll just have an announcement. Sorry for the crappy animations. We are having more collaboration from Joint on ISA and Twin Alien, aka Vincenzo, joining the core team as a part-time, contributing on a more larger scale projects. So joining us. It's very good to work with you guys. It has been with us a long way now forward, but we'll all benefit from your expertise and your drive to push stuff forward.
There is some background noise from someone. I don't know exactly who it is. But yeah, I just want to say, I think this is a great result that the first 2 employee of the contributor of the month of the bounty program has been moving forward to making more consistent work within the DAO. So I think that's an awesome result, and I would encourage everybody else who is serious in contributing either by development or research or writing or whatever there is. Adam is also another great example who started taking bounties and eventually ended up leading the newsletter. So basically it's wide open of opportunities. Go and check it out, the bounty board. Find what you can do, and then our doors are open.
All right, good stuff. So moving forward, I'm passing the word to Block for the Treasury Committee update.
Hey everyone, we've been doing pretty well these past few months. I think play rewards were pretty high. Our treasury grew more than double, and so I think on that front we're doing pretty good. But a lot of that is just due to price appreciation in Ethereum. we've been leveraged long onto that, pretty low and what I would consider safe leverage of like less than 1.2 long. A lot of times when you hear people getting wrecked with leverage, it's like, greater than 2x or somewhere in like the 4x range. We're not really taking that risky of a leverage position, but it still is allowing us to grow at a pretty good rate relative to other farming opportunities. We're seeing a lot of like the staked ETH opportunities kind of tap out around like 6 to 10% maybe, and a lot of them utilize pools that might be half ETH, so you're not getting that full 4%ish across your whole principal, but only around like half or a third. So I think relative to the opportunities that are out there, we're doing pretty well. That said, we have had a vote recently, which is kind of realigning us with the T0 mentality, where we're going to be using a benchmark that is a proportional amount of stables. I don't recall the exact number. I think it's somewhere like 20 to 15%. But that will allow us to kind of better peg to bear markets and make sure that we reduce the chance of loss in any kind of downward price movement. So as of our last meeting, we've been working out ways of how we're going to start transitioning back down from leverage, what price targets exist, and how we should handle kind of reducing our leverage and shifting back into stables. As right now we're kind of at 0%. At the last distribution, we were feeling like ETH was going to have a very positive upside move. Thankfully, we were correct in that, and because of that, we had sold our stables to build to play and allowed the ETH to just act as like increasing our leverage by removing our stables but keeping the same amount of debt, and that allowed us to very easily transition into this kind of long ETH. Now we're kind of been popping around in the 43 area. We've done a few DCAs over the course of the month that were generally, I would say, in the sub 4,100s, several of them in like the 39s or 38s. And all of these have been, relatively small and measured, I would argue. We're definitely following the approach of small, consistent buys are better than any large particular buy. And I think the market generally proves DCAs to be the appropriate move for those. We have a good open stream of communication with the team over at RAI, or Reflexer Labs, and we just started some communication with the liquidity folks. So we're definitely, looking at ways that we could better utilize our debt and make sure that we keep our position super safe. And I think those conversations are going well. We are looking to start shifting into a more stable set of positions. So we're assessing a bunch of various like stable opportunities, and you'll likely see some of those moves towards stable farms in the near future. Also, we're probably going to roll our Ribbon ETH over into staked ETH. In Ribbon, we found that the upside isn't all that risky, and when measured with our debt, it's effectively not selling our principal of ETH, but would be kind of like selling that extension of leverage higher than the price that we bought it, and would still capture upside even if we do technically lose principal there. It would still be selling up from where we bought with debt. Overall, I think that's kind of the summary of how the Treasury is going right now. If anyone has any questions, happy to answer them, and we also always happy to answer on the Treasury channel.
Thanks, Block. Does anyone have any comments?
Number go up, good.
Good. Good. Let's move it forward. Next slide. Community contribution. I think I saw Brian around. Brian, would you like to?
Yeah. Hey, Adrian.
Go ahead.
Hey, thanks everybody. November 2021, we had 2 bounties completed, which we'll get to when we get to the contributor of the month. I can talk a little bit about 3 more in progress. That looks like a little bit of a smaller number, but what's really been happening is our bounties are getting a little bit more sophisticated, and we're asking for kind of bigger contributions from people. And as Alessio has called out a couple times here, I think we have some really interesting, important bounties kind of coming up already on the board in terms of alternate liquidity mining, some analysis work that we'd really like done from somebody from the community, and other things moving forward. And this is turning into, I think, a really good way for people to start working with the team and end up with a little bit more of a commitment, which is great. So in terms of supporting this, definitely if you have any inkling of wanting to contribute in some way, whether that's a big way or a small way, start the conversation in the contributor channel. Very often, I think the conversation is the first thing we need to do to kind of clarify and get people moving down the right path anyway. So look at the bounty board. If you think of something that you'd like to contribute, bring it up there. And we really want to try to expand this kind of opportunity for everyone. What's happening now, we've got a couple experiments going on. One, we're doing some Spanish language translations, and we're kind of seeing what the demand is for that in Spanish language crypto communities. So if you are a Spanish speaker and you know of some good Spanish language crypto communities or DeFi communities, please share them in the Spanish channel. We're beginning to collect those for distribution. And the last thing I wanted to call out before getting to the contributor of the month is there hasn't been a lot of participation in the impression mining program yet, but we're beginning to publish more content. And it's a really, I think, easy way to help the DAO and also create a little bit of incentive. So if you're inclined to start sharing either the newsletter, some of the content that's getting created, some of the things about Slice and the distributions and things like that, definitely give it a shot. It'd be great to see some people coming back with some experiments around that stuff. And then finally, to the next slide, Adrian.
Woo!
In a very close race between Tom's first bounty and Tom's second bounty, our contributor of the month is Tom.
Kicking ass, Tom.
Very good, Tom.
These were really good bounties too. These are really good contributions. One of them is a partnership evaluation framework that's become this whole process. We've already pulled one partnership through it that's I think up for a vote. And the other one's a KPI dashboard in Dune Analytics. That's going to be super useful moving forward. So great work, Tom.
Good stuff. Good stuff. It was a close ending, I can see. Does anyone have any questions or any comments?
I'd just like to add that we're looking to build a team together for the USD++ revision. We're looking to kind of have a Pi-owned liquidity in the form of CVX and create a very strong, stable vault opportunity. We're looking for more people on this team to govern this Pi, particularly with like a marketing focus, as kind of advertising Pi and trying to get people to be aware of the opportunity will be very key to kickstarting its growth. So if anyone's interested in joining the committee and helping us market this Pi, definitely reach out to me.
Which Pi was that? I missed the first part.
So USD++, we're looking to take it into kind of like a curve farming strategy, or rather convex farming, with some Pi-owned CVX that would allow us to boost the pools we're farming and also get bribe rewards as part of the income stream.
Very nice.
Cool. Any other comments from anyone? Nope. All right, moving forward. So about the roadmap, we are in the last month of the community efforts that we made 4 months ago. At the moment, we have 47, almost 50% of the scope activities already completed, 13 are in progress, and 40 are pending. It seems a lot, like a lot of work to be done. Most of it has been either, I wouldn't say put aside, but deprioritized for more important activities that were passing PIPs and some other more strategical concerns. So I'll do a wrap up by the next reporting of what's left, what's not left, and what we will eventually carry on. Most of these pending activities could be found by through bounties, and they're all stuff that anyone can help and contribute. It's mostly about refinement of current processes, which is left. So any help, anyone that wants to raise their hand and help out, please do reach out. Sorry, back to the slide. Any comments, any questions from anyone? All right. Moving to the statistics, we can see that the amount of DAO holders rise very little, but it did rise from one month to the other. And the amount of PI holders, especially for play, went up significantly, and 10% from last month, which is good. And the next period of dopamine will have almost has 2.2 million in liquid and 8.8 in escrow rewards. I'm not sure if anyone wants to have any comments or any say on this. Maybe Gab will let you make any mentions if you made the call, of course.
No, anything specific, frankly speaking. I mean, if anybody has any question, happy to chime in.
My only note would be to add to this slide the total locks, so like unique addresses of veDough. I think like there are like 154 unique, but like it's not super mega clear exactly what the distinction is between the two, and I think that would be an interesting.
But in fact, I tend to agree. It's a bit misleading, the current breakdown. Maybe we need to improve that. But the only thing is that we don't want to double count any address. That's pretty much the point. So anyhow, we can just add a separate information about current staking address holding veDough. Good point.
There is actually a nice Easter egg, like in the PieDAO website, to see the locks in chart form, which I'm going to publish on general right now, and it's accessible by anyone. So like if you want to see like the locks counts and the locks value, the way they grow, yeah, this should be helpful.
Great. Anyone has any comments or any other suggestion? All right. So statistics from the forum, compared to last time, we see an increase in the amount of active users and new users. In general, for last, this is just an insight and worth mentioning, for last 2-3 months, these numbers have been going up, and that's very good. It's lovely to see more participation in the forum. Top topics, you can see them on the right, but we'll cover some of them on the next slide. We'll touch base on the voting and governance. So about governance, there are 2 open proposals. I just want to highlight them on this call. The first one is about linear finance and their proposal of a partnership with PieDAO around the Play Pi. It's an open conversation at the moment. Please do chime in, check the proposal on the forum, and leave your comments if you have any at all. Sure if anyone wants to make any statement or any comment about that.
I think my only comment would be that the previous synthetic version of the DeFi has been working well so far for the community. Like it's not something we are making a huge profit out of, but like I think it's interesting to have PieDAO branded synthetic product somewhere else. There is one particular aspect about this proposal which I find interesting, which is right in the moment we derivatives are basically enabled for pies, even if in another chain or whatever there is, like potentially there are some interesting games to be played either through arbitraging, but even basically having like net neutral, market neutral positions within Pi, stuff like linear exchanges will allow for shorting and allocation. Since this basically would be exactly the same, like, and it brings parity between both, like there will be an interesting thing to see.
Cool. Thanks, Alex. The second point about the partnership with Tokamak, this comes from a community member, just came up yesterday, I think. We set up a call on the 22nd on our proposal discussion meeting for a live conversation about it. Anyhow, to take a look at it, it's interesting how what the result, the expected result, it may benefit us. And worth calling out is the first suggestion we have through our partnership new flow. So if you have any partnership, which is the one actually that Tom helped develop, if you have any proposal for any new partnership, do please use that and comment as well on Discord, so we can help formalize the details around it and have get faster to a conclusion together. I'll make a stop here if anyone has any comments before we move on.
I don't have any specific comment. I just want to say that I think the possibility to use tokenmark is included as a open question within the bounty of how to improve liquidity for pies. So again, I don't know if Ghost has some opinions about that, but it might be interesting for him to look into that. Maybe tokenmark is the solution.
Cool. Anything else from anyone? All right. So, moving to the next slide. I'm not sure if Ben is on the call. Ben, would you like to move forward?
Yeah, I'm on. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can, yes.
Awesome. Yeah, so last slide is the voting. So currently there's no open votes. So take a break, because this past month there was a lot of votes that went through the snapshot. So congratulations to everybody who participated. Just a quick note on the past votes. This is not an extensive list of all the votes that went through that process, as a snapshot process. This is just the ones that I deemed. So it's a very, personal, or that moved the protocol in an actionable manner. So there weren't any votes included that, for example, got the gist or gauge the community's intent about certain things. It's more so the votes that actually were more actionable. So just that disclaimer at the beginning before I go through. But yeah, so as you can see, we went through over 9 votes that were actionable. Some of the highlighted ones were, of course, removing Cream Keeper from YPI because of the hack early in November. Also, the creation of the EDO to veDough bridge. So congrats, Adam. I don't think he's on the call, but he's the one who brought it up a couple months ago to create that bridge, and it went through a vote, and it's finally live. So that's good to know that it came to fruition, right? So the whole process came to fruition.
And the last, have a politician of the month.
Oh, was that?
Maybe we should have a politician of the month besides the contributor of the month.
That too. Yeah, but not least is the play index. So what we did, as mentioned in the previous slide, was got rid of the long tail assets to focus on assets that have more liquidity, so as to scale this index. So congratulations on everybody who was part of that. But those were some of the highlights over the last the month. So keep it updated. I'll keep updating people on upcoming votes on the newsletter, and also you can find on the Discord channel. But thanks everyone for participating.
Good stuff. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for putting this together. Does anyone have any comments or questions at the moment? Right, we made it to the last slide. Good. So let's have a chat. There are a couple of things happening on discussion, at least on the on Discord. We'd like to hear if anyone wants to bring anything in particular now for discussion.
Hello? Hey, I was wondering, what can I do to help launch Scale? Because I signed up for that, and I'm caught up on the work done so far, but I'm not sure exactly what's needed of me. Yeah.
Hey, Rich. Hi. Yeah. First of all, thank you for your interest in moving this forward. I think that's that's very cool. And I was actually planning to work on it myself, as some of the activities were kind of closing. I think in general, like the current scale, sort of the current state of Scale is as follow. There was like an early allocation that haven't been really followed up that much. I actually suggest if you're taking the lead, or we'll be working on it together to sort of open up the scope a little bit. I think someone could argue that even tokens related to bridge might be included, right, as they are somewhat like in the sort of in the umbrella of scaling solution, or somewhat related to scaling solution. So I think that's one of the things. Basically, we should keep going from whatever has been done before, which is an excellent prospectus from Saganagi, together with kind of a little white paper, which was defining the scope, like the methodology, together with I think some trigger rebalancing. So I think that would be like step number one. I think it's worth considering even a different name. Like I received multiple feedbacks from people that Scale is not very self-explanatory the way as a name. So maybe we can find a more mimetic way of doing that. And after that, I think with a compelling sort of up-to-date prospectus, it would be super great to basically formalize that, and then have a new vote with the new allocation, and try to understand what are the tactics and the strategy we can bring in place to drive the initial liquidity. Some discussion which has been done before were related to the fact that it would be super great if we would launch anything like that in any of the scaling solution, right? And I think that would be just a great fit. I just saw Optimism, for instance. It's going to be open to anyone, next week. So I wonder, maybe we can launch it on Uniswap on Optimism for the very first time. Who knows? That would be interesting. So that, those are my only comments at this point. Does that answer your question a little bit?
A little bit. I suppose that leave the space to get more details up into the forum then, because I'm not sure what parts to research to more formalize what's going into this Pi, beyond what's been done already, like in the scaled Pi components tracker. I think that framework's uh useful. It's a good foundation.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not sure what to add on top of that.
So let me share this. Maybe that's helpful. There is a document which is open to anyone in the PieDAO Notion, which is called Pi Launch Checklist, right? So this is basically a list of just a simple list of actions which need to happen in order for sort of everything to sort of kickstart one way or another. I think one of the main point of friction eventually was that. I actually don't remember even the guy who was working on it. They were trying to find initial liquidity for this Pi so that they could mint maybe a couple of $100K and initiate the market with those. To that extent, if we end up launching it on Uniswap, it's even less concerning, as we can basically make a pool which is one-sided. So it will take 50% of the liquidity. But let me share this checklist with you. It's just a general indication, but we might give some insight on what's needed, to make this entire project completed.
Oh, thanks. So about liquidity, since that seems to be also the choke point for the PFP Pi. Is that something that we think Olympus Pro could help with, or or tokamak, or I wasn't sure if people had reservations about either of those services, or if they wanted to try to do some sort of community raise for more liquidity. If anyone had comments about that.
I think it's worth pursuing both. I definitely think that pies and liquidity is a big point of need, and both of those services seem to be providing ways to address that. Maybe it might be a good idea to poll the PieDAO community and see how many people hold toke, as I believe we'd need to vote to get liquidity pointed towards our vault. So we should kind of gauge our voting power there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Not quite sure about the details, but my understanding of some of the concern related to liquidity is that there were two people from the art club community which actually looked into that pretty deeply. These guys are Hamball, Hamball, and another guy which is called Tokenomics or something, I can get the name. So they basically sent a report highlighting the issue that if you would make a pie with those allocation, particularly with floor found, it would be extremely hard to make it reasonably large, right? And so there was a question of how that could be improved. I believe they've been talking with the NFTX guys to find out if there they had plans to incentivize that sort of liquidity, and to which extent, but that doesn't look to be the case. So I'm not sure what is the latest state, but my understanding is there were basically sort of two options at this point, which was one, continue with the floor found, so basically the NFTX version of it, and then kind of accept the thing, accept the fact that it will be fairly small, at least for a while. And the second one, to pursue a different approach, which looked a lot more similar to a traditional found, in the sense that it would raise, something like ETH to actually buy rare NFTs. So a lot more sort of governance intensive, curated found than traditional Pi. If someone has more updated news, it's welcome to join, but that was my understanding, at least.
Yeah, I can. No, that's you well described the current status. Actually, one very last point, and is something that we actually we're just going to propose. So we agreed with specifically with Hamball, which is mostly leading, has been mostly leading the effort for now. I mean, it would be good to propose to have an open call with them. We're planning for next week. Ideally, probably Friday. We may even try to set up the better day for that. Pretty much to share a bit more in detail what's the current issue with either the initial proposal, which was kind of designed by PieDAO and then handed over to them, and this second specific constructor which they've been digging. But I can confirm that the real issue liquidity wise is not the traditional let me say issue with liquidity that we may have with Pi. Is rather the fact that the different NFTX vaults tracking this kind of floor approach to the different NFTs, they are really illiquid. So what we've been experiencing also with assets you all remember we used to have a hash mask in play, and we can ensure that that's been quite a pain to manage, since every single rebalancing, even just for very small and thin liquidity requested, that was really causing huge slippage and compromising the whole rebalancing of the Pi. So just thinking, based on that experience, that really seemed a sort of like, deep issue unless worked out together with an FTX, which, as you just mentioned, doesn't seem to be. I mean, so far they not been showing the. I mean, they didn't seem to be willing to proceed with specific incentive around the creation of these PFP. So I think it's anyhow worth it exploring a bit more in detail. For anybody interested in this topic, we'll be posting something on Discord. Ideally, trying to set up a right time to speak in this sort of open call on the subject. Hopefully, it will be something interesting. I don't know if anybody has any questions specific on this matter. Otherwise, don't know what's next. Adrian?
There's nothing specifically next unless it's process.
Okay.
So we cover scale. A quick mention to Rich and Creamy. So besides what Alex said, initially Matthias was going to work on it. Artists volunteered to work on it, and we created a group with the folks that were running it before, so Louis and Saganaki. I sent you a friend request, so if you can accept it, if you want to accept it, I will add you to that group, so you can.
I have you added, thanks.
Cool. So I will add you to that group, and we can follow the conversation. Not sure if Matthias will continue. The second point was about PFP, which is one of the conversations from today. I'm not sure if anyone else would like to bring something up, anything else up.
Come on, guys, there is an elephant in the room.
Oh, Enzo, right?
I think if someone wants to talk about that, I think we should do it. Like it's
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to hear about reverse vampire attacks.
Yes.
I mean, I just think it's would be an amazing marketing point. It might not make sense since the last post I saw in Discord was, our incentives already as is better than what the other guys are offering. So we kind of don't need to do anything. But yeah.
Yeah. So I've been kind of trying to read into all of their docs, see what's going on. Basically, the vibe I get is that when you deposit an index, they'll probably break that down into different assets, and that you'll now have many different positions within their system. Or they'll keep it as an index and just use the same farming opportunities already as strategies. It's basically saying anyone can come up with any strategy with any token, which in my opinion is super dangerous, because it would be quite easy for a strategist to create their own token and then rebalance the position from a token that you want to be invested in to this made up token that has no liquidity on the market except for what they've provided. And it would be, without strong protections, might be, quite risky. But, assuming that managers aren't, attacking things, they would then have to invest those assets. So you deposit play, play might then, either they then farm play through the PieDAO offered opportunities, or they break it into many different assets and take advantage of individual things. I know many people in PieDAO have concerns around the gas for things. And one of the things that Pies offer is a way to buy and sell a group of assets as a single, payload, as a single expense. So this could actually add a large cost to that. The risk of PieDAO farming it is right now, they are only rewarding NFTs when you submit to when you deposit. So we could deposit, claim the NFT, and then withdraw. That said, like their contracts aren't live yet, so I can't really verify the exact actions. But this is what I gather from reading their documentation. So you would deposit, you'd claim the NFT. Redemptions occur at some mystery time in the future, so we couldn't time, withdraw just before, kind of thing. After that, they will then retroactively reward, and that is also an unknown number. So if Pi holders, deposit, they would claim an NFT. That NFT comes with the rewards later, and how you can play games. That's not really clear at the moment what those benefits are, or if PieDAO would be able to take advantage of those games. From there, you end up in a situation where at some time later they are giving rewards. So it doesn't sound like that's very fixed or something that they might have a lot of flexibility in. So it's also possible that after, we go through the migration, we get split into many assets, we then withdraw all of those assets, we then consolidate them back into a Pi. That's a bunch of gas expenses, and it's quite possible that they would not have that as smart contractually enforced, but some lists that they would provide later. And it's possible that then they would just exclude us from the from whatever snapshot that informs future distributions. So as far as like a reverse farming effort, it's full of unknowns and mysteries and ways for them to simply exclude paying us whatever the reward distribution is. And the reward distribution at present isn't very clear. In the past, vampire attacks such as Sushi would be like, here you deposit this token, we'll give you tokens constantly, kind of like a Yam style. Here's tokens for staking as like our current staking contract. But this doesn't really follow that flow and leaves both for us and anyone who's trying to participate in this vampire attack, very unclear rewards where how much you actually benefit from this isn't clearly defined.
Yeah, all of those unknowns with payout and not having constant tokens sounds like a rug. So thank you for the deep dive into their docs for us.
Yeah, so I mean, to me, I'd personally be uncomfortable with what they're offering until I could, at the very least, see an audit. Allegedly, they have one, but again, it's not published yet, or their code, which is not published yet. And so, without like having the ability to perceive that, it does sound like something that maybe might be too risky of a move for a PieDAO to, pursue a reverse. Take advantage of the vampire to profit with some kind of vault. That said, Gabo had a very good, suggestion, I think, that is like a reverse vampire, that if people find themselves unsatisfied with Enzo, they could then, deposit their Enzo assets in some kind of, oven, and that oven might, supplement with a small amount of dough to help discount moving things into our assets. So we could offer like kind of a discount for them to move their assets over to us. And I think that could be an interesting way, as well as the possibility of doing here, you burn your Enzo and you get dough. Could be another thing that we could offer that might be a less drastic approach. That said, I guess I should just review kind of what's being offered here is they're giving more flexibility in individual investments, but that also comes with now you're managing many individual investments instead of singular ones. And if in a singular one, then they're still bound by what opportunities exist for that singularized token. So like if they do keep play together as play, then they'd be bound to just investing play as play and what opportunities exist for play. So if they are to keep any kind of index structure, you at best be getting the same opportunity you're already getting, but with risk of whoever's managing that strategy is now basically able to reinvest your money, and you'd be putting trust in whoever that particular strategy manager is.
Yeah, thanks, Block. Sorry, I just to regarding the point which you just mentioned, the way I was, I mean, you know, I was just throwing it there. Frankly speaking, of course, we should be better consider the thing based on also the impact that this attempt may have eventually over time, but conceptually, just this concept of oven, I would envision that more as a way for people to deposit the ENSO token, not the asset that they've been vampiring, the ENSO token that they would be minting from this kind of move. So pretty much will be us, you know, dumping their governance token in order to purchase the underlying asset to mint Pi with. So that was pretty much more like the option that was throwing there. Of course, you know, there should be some market liquid on AMMs in order to do that with that token.
Good. Thank you guys for the commentary. Does anyone want to say anything else? No? No? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think in general, like it's I recall like there was a time where like a similar proposal was suggested to farm competing yields or some sort. Like I don't think that took off back in the time. I'm not quite sure that will took off today. More in general, I would say that yeah, I think like all things considered, like from some of the example we have been seeing before, this sort of not kind of anti-competitive, like anti-cooperative mechanism, like in general, are not super nice to see. Like, and I would rather potentially not play the same game, like as it doesn't feel super great. But like it's, I think we will see. Like it's if yeah, like I think like it didn't fly out before. Like I'm afraid it will fly out now. There might be a real opportunity, but basically what I think is like there might be a real opportunity for farming, like, and if that is the case, the Treasury Committee will think about it if it's a profitable one, like for real, but like it shouldn't be done like as a measure of counteracting that thing per se. Then wouldn't make super sense. Yeah, so I think in general, like I would love to hear what people think in terms of yeah, what's happening, like the migration, if they're considering it, and if that is the case, why is that the case?
I'm staked for 3 years, so I'm not going anywhere.
Good guy, Rich.
I have the same feeling that just if anyone has a different opinion, let me know. But I have the feeling that people that currently own our pies are quite into the project. For the last community calls, when we put up the numbers around the amount of holders per pie, the changes are minimum. So it's not like people exiting, getting out and in different pies. And so, for my opinion, this is just personal opinion, the impact shouldn't be much. I mean, there's an intrinsic loyalty from DAOers, from PieDAO, and staking may boost that feeling around. So my pies at least stay here, and that's all I have to say. Right. Anyone else would like to speak up? say anything, share anything else?
Well, if they were going to offer me a CryptoPunk, I would have migrated, but they aren't, so I'm going to stay.
They gotta up their game, man. Where the punks at?
Yeah.
PiePunks incoming.
Yo, so like that's actually let's talk about that for a second because I think that would be some really interesting play that could be made. Is like right now we vote monthly on reward assets, and so far we've done play both months, but potentially maybe next month we just refactored play to remove some of like the lower to remove some of the long tail from it. But I'd be interested in getting paid 1 month in like Punk token, and getting paid in some punks 1 month.
Like floor found punks?
Yeah, like NFTX punks token, and we just gain like access to the floor vault of all punks in that way. Like I think right now, punks are pretty low rated by the market, but there's like rallying behind them. And long term, I'm very long punk, so I wouldn't mind getting a distribution in punk 1 month.
Yeah, it's very liquid, so there shouldn't be an issue liquidity-wise.
That actually sounds good.
Nobody wants socks anymore. First socks.
It could be a
I always want socks. I just don't like shilling socks on other people because it's hard to explain. It's like the greatest coffee table item to own, though, because telling people about socks is just like a choose your own adventure. Do you want to learn about NFTs or physical to digital or ERC20s or bonding curves? Literally, choose your own adventure of NFT coffee table books.
All right.
So there is one thing I wanted to bring up, and it's something about community building. I'm just wondering if we can do some events and maybe play some virtual games together sometime, just to have a better sense of community within PieDAO.
Oh man, I would love that. Like I've been trying to organize a video games tournament or something like for a long time, like last year or so. It never played very well, but like if you're into that, like I want to do it. There is also this tool like I've been playing with a little bit, gather.town, which kind of gives you sort of a private app hotel home, if that makes sense. And yeah, to just hang in, like, and I think that would be super interesting to try it out.
I know a few other DAOs have done like chess tournaments. I don't know how many people here are into chess, but that seems like a nice way to have like smaller one-on-one like chill sessions between people through like a chess battle, and you get to watch people play chess, which is not the worst thing in the world.
That sounds cool.
we
Yeah,
play
yeah.
5D chess.
5D
Yeah.
chess.
There's a version of chess I've always wanted to play that is not, maybe it's 5D, but it's you play on two boards, and when you take your enemy's pieces, they get airdropped onto the other board as one of your pieces.
Right. That's freaky.
Yeah, I would love to play that version of chess digitally. I don't know if you can though, because like the airdropping mechanic might not, be built into digital versions.
Yeah, any sort of other games which like actually encourage massive collaboration would be quite interesting. I don't know if anybody's into that. But like even I would love also to do sort of a VR based community call or something like that. I don't know if anybody of you like has any of the Visor or the Quest or some of those tools. Like that would be quite interesting.
I guess there are some that you can already navigate without the VR. It's less interesting, but you can still see, wander around an area and talk.
Rec Room works with mobile browser and VR. If you
What's
wanted
that?
to try that route.
Rec room?
Rec Room? Yeah, REC, like recreation room.
Oh, I love Rec Room. That's awesome.
I
It's
don't
a
know
great
about
one.
that one. Like, I'm gonna check it out. Also, something I thought it was quite interesting, which because I actually didn't know this entire sort of VTubing was a thing. Like, it's this idea of using like sort of 3D characters which will move according to however you're moving, right? Like, and reproduce facial expression, like, and stuff like that. And I do wonder like how a community call based on that would look like. It would be quite interesting to see.
We should buy an island and meet there once a month. That's my idea.
I'm pro buying an island.
Who's paying for the tickets?
Everyone has to get their own boat.
The island government.
Sounds good.
You mean a virtual island?
No, an actual
A real
island,
one.
like in the Caribbean.
Oh.
Coconuts and drinks. Who's in?
There was somebody from PieDAO member which put forth a proposal. There was actually a structured project.
The island DAO,
buy an
right?
island. Yeah.
Yeah, the island
Exactly.
DAO under the Estonian jurisdiction or something. Yeah, I don't think like it ever actually worked, but like it's yeah, they did a fair bit of work, like in
Yeah,
putting
it
that
seemed
together.
interesting. They've been looking into a bunch of bureaucratic stuff.
I mean, like if people want to buy the constitution, like, and they are kind of organizing for that, like you can surely buy an island, I guess.
I think you can buy the Salvador or the whole country if you gather enough Bitcoin. I mean, half of the land. It's just a matter, of organization. Right.
City DAO bought a city, and they're now, building infrastructure on that city. So
Is that
anything's
real?
possible if you DAO it. Yeah, yeah.
You didn't really buy a city?
Well, I mean, it's not a city per se. They bought a large plot of land in which they will proceed to build their city.
Right. That's that's actually pretty interesting. I do know there are people sort of working closely with like some very tiny town like in Switzerland, which is an actual town, and working closely like to bring capital in and then try to reshape the sort of the legislation for that specific canton. Like they have this way of managing things which allow for like a great flexibility on the hyper regional part of the country. So like it's that's an interesting experiment as well.
Yeah. In Italy, you can buy politics with Bitcoin.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Alright, guys and girls, sorry, we are 7 minutes over. Would you like to bring up any more topics? Otherwise, I will just suggest that we wrap it up and continue the conversation, but I would like to stop the recording at some point. Alrighty, so next community call, we'll see you in 2022, 6th of January. We'll keep the time to be discussed more on this around this time. And again, a reminder that get into the newsletter if you haven't already. And I will proceed to stop the recording. I would appreciate everyone for joining, listening, and participating. And thank you for your time and everything you've done, guys. Very good stuff.
Thank you, everybody. Cheers.